Good morning, good evening. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Today we're going to present our project in sociolinguistics, which is entitled Code Mixing and Code Switching. For our work plan, we provided an introduction, the definition of code switching provided with examples, reasons of code switching, types of code switching, the definition of code mixing provided with examples, reasons of code mixing, types of code mixing, and the differences between code switching and code mixing. And we conclude. First, as the world is in constant growth, so does the need to learn more languages and do our best to perfection the acquisition of the language, understand and analyze its culture and social status. For most cases, people of different official languages and speak a foreign language or more tend to confuse languages and speech. Here we categorize two types of doing so, code switching and code mixing. First, we start by defining code switching. Code switching is first the linguistic action of alternating or combining two or more languages. Unlike loan words, which become permanent words in a language, code switching revolves around interchangeably using words and phrases from different languages as they suit the situation. The second definition of code switching comes from a social linguistic perspective, where the term is much broader. Under this umbrella, code switching describes the use of different dialects, accents, language combinations, and mannerism with social groups in order to project a particular identity. We provided examples of code switching. First, in Arabic English, we say سويت الhomework امبارح. French English, vous aurez un test la semaine prochaine, you need to revise bien. And in French Kabyle, donne-moi un mail foudard. And in French Arabic, et la vie à Montpellier kifesh. Now, why do we commit code switching? Know similar words in English, to fill the gap in speaking, to avoid misunderstanding, to convey intimacy, to add emphasis, and to show identity. Now we identify the types of code switching. First, we have intersentential. The language switch is done at sentence boundaries, words or phrases at the beginning or end of a sentence. This type is seen most often in fluent bilingual speakers. Second, we have intrasentential. The shift is done in the middle of a sentence with no interruptions, hesitations, or pauses to indicate a shift. The speaker is usually unaware of the shift. Different types of switches occur within the clause level and within the word level. Third, we have extrasentential or tag switching. This is the switching of either a single word or a tag phrase or both from one language to another. This type is common in intrasentential switches. It involves the insertion of a tag from one language into an utterance in another language. Second, we go ahead with the definition of code mixing. The term code mixing is variously defined in different subfields of linguistics. Many studies of morphology or syntax use the term as a synonym for code switching, the alternating used by bilingual speakers of two or more different languages within a single utterance. Example, Kashrur 1978, Mirskin 2000. Studies in psycholinguistics similarly definition code mixing as a quote. The transition from using linguistic units, words, phrases, clauses, etc., of one language to using those of another within a single sentence, end quote. Sridhar and Sridhar 1980. Now, we provide examples of code mixing. In English, Spanish, we say, gracias for this picture, está awesome. In Arabic Kabyle, we say على حسب شوفها فهالكل. Now, why do we commit code mixing? The reasons why. Interjections, quoting somebody else, expressing group identity because of real lexical need, repetition used for clarification, and intention of clarifying the speech context for interlocutors. Now, the types of code mixing. First, we have intra-sentential code mixing. This kind of code mixing occurs within a phrase, a clause, or a sentence boundary. It may range from the alternation of single words, phrases to clauses within a single sentence or utterances. For example, Ram is eating and playing with Sita. Here what happened is the word was borrowed meaning mango in English from Hindi and adapted into English. Grammar of Hindi language didn't get involved, only lexical items of Hindi is embedded in English. Second, we have lexical code mixing. This kind of code mixing occurs within a word boundary involving a change in pronunciation. Third, we have extra-sentential mixing. Normally, extra-sentential mixing occurs between sentences because it occurs at sentence boundaries. It also requires less complex syntactic interaction between two languages involved in code mixing. Now, the differences between code switching and code mixing. Code switching is the ability to switch or change elements from one language to another. For example, in English conversation, the speaker change or switch from English to Spanish according to the function or situation. The code switching is related to at least a sentence level shift from one language variety. If the shift from one code to another is absolute, it is then code switching. There are mainly two kinds of code switching. First, we have the situational code switching. This happens or occurs when a language is changed in harmony with the situation. For instance, the speaker speaks in the classroom in English, but whenever she or he comes outside, she or he starts using another language. Third, we have the metaphorical code switching. It refers to the tendency in a bilingual or multilingual society to switch codes, language, or language variety in conversation to discuss a topic. For example, a speaker may use low-level variety while talking about the family, but when she or he has to talk about the religious topic, immediately she or he shifts to high variety of codes. Code mixing. Code mixing refers to the shifting linguistic units from one code into another. The shifting results from evolving a new code of linguistic interaction. It is the lexical shift within a sentence or an utterance. Code mixing is also happening in the bilingual or multilingual community. The code mixing is word-level mixing up within a sentence. This means a sentence can have words from two different language varieties. It is a mixture of different types of codes, languages, language variety within a sentence. Now to conclude the work. All in all, a code may be a language or variety or style of a language. The term code mixing emphasizes hybridization and the term code switching. The two mentioned above occur most often in speech. It is a common phenomenon. Thank you for watching.